Time you see this, you will either have already started the July 4th holiday or you will be coming up to it. That's if you're in the US and you celebrate 4th of July, which pretty well everybody in the US does. Take a deep breath. Just let it go. Kind of hard to believe that it's already 5 o'clock. I really thought it was about 4. I was pretty busy early on, then I had lunch and just kind of relaxed for a little bit after lunch. And then all of a sudden, it's 5 o'clock, and I really and truly thought it was 4 o'clock. Today's reading is called Even When You're Right. And this is I know it's a tongue-in-cheek reading, but anyway, you'll see what I mean as we get into it. Even when you're right. Nobody stands taller than those willing to stand corrected, and that was William Safra. And I did not Google William Safra. I'll have to do that later. Ernest Holmes, who we quote every single day pretty well. We shall have to know that the truth we announce is superior to the condition that is to change. We shall have to know that the truth that we announce is superior to the condition that it is to change. It's from It's Up to You, page 46. So what does that mean in essence? Well, if you take our course, which I've been plugging, and I put some details in there, well, I put a link in there for how you can find out more about it. What it's saying in simple terms is this, that when you know what you want, and when you claim that as your truth, affirmative prayer, spiritual mind treatment, or generally just positive affirmation, what it's saying is this. It's saying that your belief in what is about to change or come about is stronger than any situation that there is. So your belief is really strong. It's a knowingness. It's a knowingness. And what is belief? Well, belief is thought plus feeling. So the thought, of course, is whatever it is that you want to come about or to change or to go away. That's your thought. And it becomes belief when you wrap feelings around it. When you wrap feelings around it strong enough, this is what Holmes is saying here. We shall then know that the truth we announce is superior to the condition that's to change. That's what he's talking about. He's talking about your belief, your knowingness, your thought plus feeling, and especially your feeling around the thought. When your feeling is strong enough, because as we've often said before, some of you may not have heard it, what you really want, whatever it is in life, what you really want are the feelings that go with it. If you want a new house, you want the feelings that go with the new house. Excuse me. Yes, you can have certain specifications, you need this size house, etc. But what you want are the feelings that you have when you go into that new house and it's yours. And same with the car, same with the bank balance, same with the friendship, same with the partner. It's the feelings that you want. However, we're going off on a different track really with our reading for today, which for me is kind of tongue-in-cheek, but you'll see why anyway. Have you ever been in an argument where you were convinced you were right only to find out that you were wrong? He says, and this is Reverend Josh, he says, this happens to me with my spouse. I know I'm right about the finances or about something we agreed to do that didn't happen. Yet I'm so attached to being right that I tend to feed the illusion that I know best. In that smug arrogance, I lose the tools that help me to live in the mystery of life, filled with much more that is unknown than is known. Listening, openness, honesty, understanding, and of course, love. He says, I don't listen to my partner. I judged her position and shouldn't be surprised that she interpreted that as judging her, which of course it was. I chose being right over being love. I learned in my marriage that winning the argument is never about being right. It's about who gets back to love first. Being right is isolating. Being love is connecting. Being right is exhausting. Being love is energizing. It's not the issues it's not that issues should be ignored or problems left unsolved, but it is just so much easier to solve these when love is at the start of the solution. He says, trust me, when it comes to this mystery of life that we live in, filled with fellow travelers who are lost and sometimes more gleefully lost than we are, being right is overrated. Be love. Be open. Seek understanding. Seek listening. Maybe you'll get something better than being right. Maybe you'll get what you really want. It's like anything in life that is simple. It's simple to state this. It's simple to understand it. But it's not easy to implement. Why? Because we all go back into that self that says, you need to be right. But the bottom line is, we don't always need to be right. We can put our egos at one side and look at the situation, Reverend Josh says, from a point of love. It's a much better way to live life. I've mentioned on other occasions that when Barbara and I got married on our first wedding anniversary, we went to Marriage Encounter, which is not to help struggling marriages. It's just the opposite. It's to help good marriages be even better. And the way we communicated was by writing down our thoughts and feelings about something and then handing what we'd written down to our spouse, partner, and let them read it. Why? Because it takes the charge out of it. When it's read, it's easier to digest than when it's spoken out loud. Because then you're not waiting to get your turn. You know, oftentimes when we're talking with someone, what we're doing is waiting for our entry point to say what we want, to put in our points of view. And oftentimes we don't listen to what the other person's saying, right? And I'm saying we, all of us. We just want to get our point across instead of just listening and finding out what the other person has to offer and then thinking about that and then responding. It's really a much less stressful way of life, isn't it? And if you're a therapist or a minister and sometimes a practitioner, or even sometimes just being a best friend, you know, and I'm a mediator as well, which you can also throw in the mix there. Positions where you have to listen to people, you just have to do, or you can't do your job. If you've often seen the stereotype idea of a psychiatrist or a therapist or a psychologist, you'll see that they're there in a chair usually, and the other person is either in a chair or laid down on a couch. And what is the expert, the therapist, whoever it turns out to be, what are they doing? They're listening. They're having the other person talk, and they're listening because they can't help the other person unless they listen. And it's probably easy for people to do in the academic setting. Well, it is for me when I'm doing mediation because I just have to listen to both points of view. Both sides have got different points of view. And I have to listen. Sometimes they're in the room with me. Sometimes I separate them because who knows about friction. But the bottom line is when you're in that role, in listening role, it's easier. Where it's not easy is when you're in a relationship role, whatever kind it is, a friend, a partner, whatever. So the lesson today, as I said, it's pretty simple, but it's not necessarily easy. It's to actually listen and communicate with love. And the affirmations actually say that I choose to be loved more than I choose to be right. It's simple, it's not easy. I'm listening, I'm compassionate, I'm caring. That kind of describes the process. I'm listening, I'm compassionate, and I'm caring. These are skills we have to practice. You know, a Toastmaster friend and I once taught a class at the local Chamber of Commerce on active listening. So what's the difference between hearing and listening and active listening? Hearing is just the physical thing of letting the words come across. Listening is actually taking note of what's being said. And active listening is showing the other party that you're interested and you're understanding what they're telling you. So you've got hearing, that's just the sound itself. Listening, which is hearing what the other person's saying. And then active listening, which is acknowledging that you understand what the other person's saying. For instance, somebody tells you something, then you can say, if I understand you correctly, this is what you're telling me. And that's what I use in mediation a lot. Let me see if I've got this right. This is what I think you're telling me. And I use this in my EFT sessions as well. Why? Because I can't do my job unless people tell me what it is they want and unless I understand what they want. And it's really the same in our marriage. Guess what though? Now, because I know my wife is going to either be watching this or will watch it sometime today, I've actually got to practice what I preach today, because I can assure you of one thing: she is going to hold me to it. Well, that's all I got to say. I will be back tomorrow. Please check out our class. I put the description in there. You can see, you can scroll down, you can see it. There's a link to click. There's a fairly good, it's on actually on our Creative Life Spiritual Center Facebook page. That's where it will take you, and you can read a description of the class. As I mentioned yesterday, I'm going to be teaching the class. It's all about spiritual mind treatment, affirmative prayer, if you call it that. It's a great class, and I think it will be worth your while to consider attending it. I said I'm going to shamelessly plug it. I will, but I won't overly burden you with that. Tomorrow's the 4th of July. I hope you have a wonderful day. But yes, I will be back tomorrow somewhere around about 5 o'clock. And if relatives get in the way because it's 4th of July, then I'll just adjust the time. But I definitely will do another reading tomorrow for the 4th of July. So please take care of yourselves, especially in this heat. We're on another heat advisory. Stay hydrated. Stay indoors when you don't have to be outside. And we'll see you next time. Namaste.